Hey everybody, welcome back to the Attract and Stand Out podcast. I'm your host, Darlene Holly, and I'm so glad to have you back here today. I have an amazing friend of mine who I get to locally network with all the time, Arlene Salcedo. She is a Latina owner and the founder of Luna Soul Wellness. She teaches women how to heal themselves and obtain optimal health with soul work, holistic healing approaches. Arlene wants women to have the tools she has used to heal themselves through connecting the mind, body, and soul because they're all connected and they can all be healed together. Arlene, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you on here today. I think we're going to have a great conversation. I know wellness is such a big topic, and I just love the work that you do and the way that you help women heal their bodies and their mind and their soul. I think it's so important, especially in this day and age with so much that's going on. We are right in the height of COVID-19, and a lot of people are finally taking their bodies back, and they're taking control over a lot more areas of their life and making sure they're taking great care of yourself. So I'm glad to have you on here today and just kind of share a little bit about your journey and how you started your business, and then also hear kind of what your thoughts are with what's going on in the world today and how we can take better care of ourselves. So yeah,
perfect. Well, we've come a long way from our mom club days.
We have. I know Arlene and I actually met in a mom's group when I first moved to Temecula, California from Las Vegas. She was one of the first moms that I met in the community, and we used to do play dates, and we got to know each other really well through wine play dates. Probably was how most of those dates went. Which I loved. That was I think my favorite thing when I moved to Temecula is the play dates happened at wineries. And I was like mind blown because coming from Las Vegas, it was too hot to go anywhere outside really. But we would meet at people's houses and do play dates there. But then we'd also go and have these amazing wine dates while the kids were playing.
Yeah. Those were fun. Those were fun days now, but you kind of, not that you need it, but it's fun to break that up. Some adulting with some toddlering. Yeah. It was a good experience.
Yeah. I kind of miss those days because all of our babies are in school now. So we don't get to.
Well, not anymore at this point. They're all home back now for the next couple months.
Exactly. That's true.
So we'll have to do Zoom wine dates over Zooms and stuff. But I would say how I got started on this wellness journey, to be honest, was a long time ago in my mid or early 20s. When I turned 21, basically I was, young mom already with 2 children, and, kind of grew up really fast because I had to. I had my 2 children, 19 was my first one, 21 my second. And unfortunately, my second child had passed due to SIDS. And so the reason why I share that is because I think the emotional distress that my body went through, the emotional wound that my soul hit, it was very intense. And I kind of just hummed my way through it. Like I didn't either crash super. So if you saw me, you wouldn't think like you're actually, oh, she's handling this pretty well. But I think on the inside, I was just internally holding everything in, trying to still function for my older son at the time, who was only about 20 months. So he kind of helped me get through that because he gave me that strength to get up, and you got to feed a baby still and take care of him and all that good stuff. And I was also married at the time to the previous fathers, to the father of my previous 2 children. And then I think things just shifted. I started realizing like my life's kind of like, I really got to see what life is all about. And I got to understand it could be gone in a split second, because the way that she passed of SIDS, it's literally like you wake up and your whole world's changed and you don't know why. I still don't have an answer for that till this day. However, I think it started affecting me internally because then I actually was diagnosed with early cervical cancer cells within like a year and a half, or not even a year and a half, but a year after her passing. Oh, I take that back. Yeah, about a year after she passed. And I just started to, back then I didn't make that connection. But I think, your immune system starts to shut down when you're dealing with stress and you're dealing with grief. Your body's just trying to deal with that. And if there's something that, your body's kind of already having, going on, then, there's nothing there it was just too much for my body to handle both. And one had to give. And I think it was the cancer, cells starting to start. So
Yeah.
with that big scare, my whole reproductive systems or organs were in jeopardy. So I basically realized, like, I want to have more kids. Now you're taking away my hope for the future of me having future kids. And you're taking away like, what else is going to be taken away? And so I decided to tell the doctors, I'm going to just take my chances, and I want to keep all my parts, and you're going to just take out whatever you need to.
Yeah.
and, long story short, luckily that all ended up working out. I mean, there was some issues when I had my next two other children. I have 4 kids altogether, but looking back, it was worth it. So, however, what got me started on a wellness journey was because I started to realize that I need to take care of my health. I could have lost my life and a good thing I was young and was able to still fight that amongst everything, because I was at a level 3 early stage, and I was just one step away from going into full-blown cancer. So that was a big wake-up call at a really young age. By that time, I was about 23. So from there, I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I eat healthy, organic, started eating better, started looking at vitamins, supplements, all that stuff. So that's what kind of got me in the wellness-ish journey. And then it really sprung me into full force. And again, it always has to do with my kids. I was having a hard time getting pregnant at 32 with my last child. And I got diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. So yet again, my reproductive system is fighting back with me again.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I want to handle this. I want to nip it in the bud, and I don't want to be on birth control pills. I don't want to take any pills and mask anything that's going on. So then I again started really getting into even furthering my, health with different diets and learning about PCOS and how that, works and all that stuff. And so from there, I think I just, while my daughter, basically by that time I just met Darlene. So within those couple years of the mom club years, I think I would just, in the free times that I would have, just research on my own. And then I started being open to yoga. I started doing yoga, practicing yoga. And then I decided to do a yoga teacher training to become a certified yoga instructor. I knew I wanted to teach it. And I think that is where the door just sprung fully open. And that's where I got to fully understand the mind, body, soul connection.
Yeah.
And then from there, that's kind of what makes me sit here today. It's just literally starting from the dirt, literally working myself up to, figure out how am I going to bloom within all of this stuff.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing so much of that, because I think it shows your journey like so beautifully, like of how you kind of had to fight for your health, fight for your body, and for how you were going to, keep moving forward, and like how each of those stages have kind of layered on to for where you're at today. I think it's pretty awesome when a lot of people know they should do things, right? Especially when it comes to our health. Like, we know we should eat good, we should exercise, we should do all these things, but so many people fight against that and go the opposite way. And I love that you were able to slowly start like intertwining it all together in your life, and it brought you to where you're at today.
Yeah, I think it's kind of with learning about yoga, and now I'm going to school for Ayurveda, which basically yoga comes from Ayurveda. They're like the sister. Ayurveda is like the science, and yoga is the actual like practice of it in a sense. So there's a lot of spiritual components that I've learned about in learning and deepening it with going to Ayurvedic school. So I look at it, and Ayurveda is a lot of karma. You came in this lifetime to do something. What is your purpose? And so I feel like a lot of the things that were obstacles have led me to able to overcome them. But again, I've been given certain tools, healthy tools, that it's helped me kind of understand my path, and look back and not be angry at everything that I've had to go through to get to where I'm at. So it's softened my outlook on my past.
Yeah. You mentioned some of those obstacles that have kind of come up as you've been on this journey. What have some of those obstacles look like as far as like building a business based around your health?
I was inspired by, I wanted people to not go through what I had to go through. So I wanted the tools that I use that are natural, come from the earth, that, or just are really easy and accessible. And I also wanted to give the power back to women specifically. I wanted them as women to understand that you have everything, you were born with everything you need. You just need to be shown where it's at sometimes.
Yeah.
And so that was my premise of my business, was every woman could heal themselves. We just have to, everybody needs a little like hand holding, right? But at the same time, I'm not going to like spoon feed you. You
Yeah.
have to learn how to feed yourself, but I'm going to show you where the food's at. So I kind of put together things. I have a Etsy shop that has a bunch of apothecary items and ritual box sets and all this stuff, yoni steam blends to help with reproductive system stuff. So that's kind of the idea of coming with things was super easy. Implementing though and selling it and getting it out there in people's hands and giving them information is the hard part. And I initially started my Etsy shop with a partner. And that partnership blew up in my face. It wasn't a fun experience. It's like, it was another one of those like, oh, like, should I give up? Is this really worth it? Can I even do this on my own? Because initially when you start something together, a partnership's almost like a marriage. And so you're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, can I still like support, this roof over my head alone? And you start questioning all these things about yourself. And I just decided, you know what, this mission is so important to me that I'm still going to do it. Whatever happened. And you know what, it's probably better I do it on my own because it's just easier to work by yourself.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was able to really gain my own power and see that, and honor it and not, how can I say, like, basically put it to you this way, my business is doing 10 times better without that partnership. And it hurt in the beginning, and it was a friend too that I lost as well. And it sucks, but I'm here standing, and now it's even the products that I've created or even that were intentionally created with somebody else, I've moved them to be even, spread them out. And I've had to do a lot of networking. I had to start all over again, refunding money back into my business. And not only that though, it's not just about my Etsy shop. I still also wanted to create one-on-ones with people, because again, you can give people products, but it doesn't mean that they're going to know how to use them. Or
Yeah.
why, what's the why behind the products. And so I'm a big believer in teaching people about things, about whatever it is that I am representing, so that they have all the information that they need. And if you don't use it, I don't know, like I did everything I could. So and it gets hard. It's a lot of hours away from the family, and not even away, like I work from home, but mentally away. I'm physically here, and they see that, but it's hard because I'm not mentally there with them. And so I think that it's easier for you to feel guilty and be judged because you're home, but then you're not home.
Yeah.
And so that's been a real struggle of trying to tell myself, one day this is going to pay off. One day all this work is going to pay off. And just trying to find the balance of being mom, wife, entrepreneur, and still being able to feed Arlene's soul, along with feeding the whole family, little parts of me. So it's a lot to handle.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us, especially women, like we have such big responsibility, right? We're making sure we're running our business. We still have to be mom. We're taking care of the household and making sure everything runs the way that we need it to. And we can feel sometimes spread thin, right? Where we're home with our kids, but we're not actually with our kids because we're working on our business, or we're thinking about the next great thing that we're going to do in our business. What would you say would be like your number one tip for finding that balance?
Honestly, I think, sorry. I think that, that I kind of go, because I also read human design charts. And so I know about my chart. I know all my kids' charts. And not everybody has the luxury of being able to read a human design chart, but that's helped me understand my personal energy my personal boundaries, my strengths, my family's strengths, my family's weaknesses. So helping that kind of looking at all together as a whole and noticing like, okay, I'm an energy type that does need to sit down and recharge myself.
Yeah.
And yet, I just think also communication, letting the kids know, like on the weekends, I don't do any work whatsoever. I mean, I try not to do any work whatsoever. And so I try to just make it a Friday or a Monday through Friday type thing. I think honestly, it was okay before COVID happened because the kids were in school and I was able to do everything without them seeing me do everything because they're at school.
Yeah.
When we had to deal with I'm not had to, but when we, deal with the homeschooling, that was where I was starting to feel a little guilty because I couldn't sit there on the hour-long Zoom call with my kindergartner and help her do the work that she needed to because I had a billion things that I had to get done. So now looking back, I can plan ahead because now I know what that's going to have to look like for this next homeschooling year that we might be all thrown into. But I think communication is really good within the family.
Yeah, I find that too. Like the more I communicate with the kids, like, hey, this is what my schedule is going to look like today. This is when I'll be more active and I can be around. Or like when I'm filming a podcast right now, like I had to go let them know, like, hey, mom's in the office, the door is closed. That means don't come in. I'll be out in an hour. And setting some of those boundaries where they know, okay, this is the time that mom's going to be working. And then this is the time of day where, we'll be able to do other activities and different things like that as well. So kind of just having that conversation and communicating has helped a ton, though it's still not always easy, right? Because they're still young and they don't quite understand when they're hungry and mom's doing something that she can't always just walk away at that exact moment. So
yeah.
What would you say has been some of your greatest successes when it comes to running your business?
I think one of the things is not being, how can I say, I don't necessarily let anything get in my way. I'm like a little bulldog. Like when I want something, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do everything in my power to get it. And it goes back to my whole health journey. I was like, I'm going to be A, B, and C. I had an end goal. So I think if you create a goal for yourself, for your business, then I think that it's easier for you to get to that goal because you have a clear vision. If you don't have a vision of where you want to be, it's hard to even create baby steps to get to that end goal. I mean, I'm not even where my end goal is. I'm not even close to it, but I know I'm on the right steps to get there. I'm on step, let's say 5 to the 10 steps that I need to be where I want to be. And so my strength has been understanding my vision and not forgetting about it. Even if it's creating a vision board that you see every single day. For me, that's been very helpful. And then not letting your insecurities get the best of you. That's a big one. I was like, again, very scared to do everything on my own. Can I do it without A, B, and C? What about the money? And as soon as I let go of those limiting beliefs, it's like the universe is just like, here you go, you're ready. Here's this. Oh, wait, I also need a graphic person because I need to, blah, blah. Oh, here's this. And okay, well, now I need, every time I needed something, the universe is like, here's your golden plate. And so it's just believing and trusting yourself and trusting your God, your higher power, the universe, whatever that you choose to look outside of yourself or even within yourself.
Yeah. And I think it's so true too, when you're on the right track and when everything's aligning the way it's supposed to, like those things, like you said, like the golden plate, like everything's kind of not necessarily handed to you directly, but things kind of fall in place in a way that's easy and makes sense and feels good. Where when we're trying to do something that doesn't feel good, or we're trying to like make what's that saying, like the square peg in a round hole or whatever, like when we're trying to do something that doesn't work together, like probably like your partnership, right? Like at some point it was probably really hard to work together. And that's when you realize, like, okay, we need to probably separate our ways. So I think it's important to realize, like, no matter what's going on in your business, like sometimes it's going to be really easy and you're going to feel like you're in complete alignment. And then other times when doors keep slamming in your face or things just feel really wonky or hard, it's because we're fighting against something that doesn't necessarily need to happen. in that way, or maybe it needs to go a totally different direction. And it's like someone's over there with a billboard, like, no, don't go this way, like go this way instead. It'll be so much easier. And I love that you do like human design, because I think we've had this conversation before when we've been out networking locally, but like the more we learn about ourselves and how we work and what works well for us individually, the easier it is, I feel like, for myself, at least in my business. Like I've been able to put stuff on the shelf. Like if I have an idea, like I don't always, like I'm the type of person that needs to sleep on it and make sure that it's going to be the right fit for me before I just jump and do it. And that's not how I used to do things. I used to go, oh, I have an idea, I just need to do it right now. And like I'd start working on things and they wouldn't go very easily, or they wouldn't feel right. Like I'd get halfway through and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? This is like so hard. But when we learn what's going to be the best way for us to handle things, and now that I like sleep on stuff, or as I like say, like put it on the shelf for a little bit, and then when I have had time to really process and know that it's the right direction to go, then I can kind of pull it back off that shelf and go, okay, now I can act on this. Like I'm ready. It feels right. It's in alignment. And that's when things, I think, happen so much easier for us.
Yeah. And I think that, when it comes to understanding yourself more, you start to see things that you thought were like failures, or you thought were weaknesses, are sometimes just your personal strengths. And maybe the world's not seeing it in that way. And so you're like downplaying yourself, because it's not to what society expects you to be. You're not fitting into that perfect square peg, and so you start to learn, like, I'm okay not fitting into that, because that's who I am, and that's not what my purpose is here for anyway. So it just gives you more strength for yourself. But a lot of the tools that I give, like when I teach a yoga class, or when I'm talking to somebody about, trying to help them with Ayurvedic health coaching, or human design sessions, meditation, all that stuff, it's like I can only give you that information, but you have to be ready to take that information in and actually use it. If I do a human design chart reading on you and you get all the information about you, but then you don't take the little steps within it to like live it, then it's just another thing that you've got that you're not going to use. It's like a blanket that you just stored in the closet and will never cuddle yourself with. So it's like, it's things like, it's easy to grab all the things, but there's also times where you have to, use those things as well. And some people could be ready for that and some people aren't. And human design is just an example. Let's just say we're talking about yoga. I've had a lot of people tell me in my yoga classes, I'm not flexible, I can't do yoga. And I'm like, no, keep coming back. Trust me, 3 months from now, you're going to be able to touch your toes.
Yeah.
It's just that people want instant gratification sometimes. And it's like, no, just let yourself slowly, inch by inch, get to the point of touching your toes. Like it doesn't happen overnight. And that takes trust, and trusting themselves.
Yeah.
And it takes discipline. And a lot of people will come to me and thank me for giving, oh, you did. I'm like, I didn't do anything. I just taught a normal yoga class, teaching you what I would teach 10 other people. So you need to thank yourself, because you came every day and you were listening and you really tuned into your body and you were patient with it. So I think when it comes to all the, tools that we give, sometimes I think it's as a person who is there to support other people, you also can't get offended if it's not working, because sometimes it's not just you. Sometimes it is, that person, the client, not wanting to fully dive into everything.
Yeah. And especially when it comes to yoga, like I think a lot of people have those mind blocks that come up. They're like, well, I can't do this, or my body won't do that. But I love how you said, like, no, like you have to believe in yourself and trust and keep coming back and keep doing the work, because that's when you're able to be successful at, right? Like you're able to reach your toes, or if it's your business, you're able to take your business to the next level. Like those, like you just have to keep showing up. I think we're in a time where society is such instant gratification, right? Like everybody gets a trophy, everybody wins. Like that's not always the case when it comes to taking care of ourselves. Like we have to be willing to do the work, and we have to keep showing up and do the work every single day, or 3 to 4 times a week at least, like when it comes to like yoga or some of those different things. But when we believe in ourselves and we have somebody alongside us who can help support us and guide us and get us led in the right direction, it's mind-blowing, like what you can actually push yourself to do that you might not have thought you could have done like a week before or a month before.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's as it's just with business, that's where it gets, you want results like right now, and it comes in the form of money. So
Yeah.
it's hard. It's very hard.
Otherwise you just have a hobby, right?
Yes. And to be honest, I didn't start making a return on anything because, you know, of having to reinvest again back into my business, being a solo entrepreneur rather than a partnership. But even in the partnership, there was no money being made in both of our pockets either, because it was just the first year of starting to put everything out. And then
Yeah.
the second year, now I'm by myself, and now I'm starting to see a return. But, I already knew when I started the business, it's going to take at least 5 years for me to get this massive return that I would like to get, and I'm okay with that because I trust the process, and it's not about money. I get, a lot of, little messages and reviews on things that let me know, okay, I'm on the right path, that these are products or these are services that I'm even offering that are really making people change their lives.
Yeah. It's the impact that we get to bring
Mm-hmm.
with it. Like, yeah, we need to provide, we need money so that we can make a bigger impact in the world and we can, support our family and do those different things. But it's so amazing to like have somebody, like you said, like you get a review because something helped somebody else, or somebody has a testimonial because you were able to help them with something. Like those little pieces it's like a ripple effect, right? That are going out into the world, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is one of the coolest things that we get to do as entrepreneurs. Is most of, at least the clients that I work with and the people that I'm around, like we have big goals and big dreams and big desires, but it's, as women, like we make a bigger impact in the community when we are able to financially provide within our family and have access to money to make differences and to make changes. So it's important that we support women business owners and help them grow their businesses, because they're going to give back to our communities like tenfold compared to a lot of male income that comes in.
Yeah, I think I'm excited that there's more feminine than masculine, so more yin to the yang, that it's starting to rise. I'm excited for that. Me being a Latina woman, I also am excited to start my own little movement with supporting women of color who are in the spiritual wellness spheres, to help them understand they can do it.
Yes.
We can all do it. And, I'm creating a movement for that, to support women, and it's not me by myself. I'm gathering a bunch of us together to do it together. So I think it's a beautiful thing when we allow women and men to become equals. We
Yeah.
still have a lot of work to do, but I can see us getting there sooner rather than later, because people are open to the different, they're open to being an entrepreneur before, whereas before they had to go work for Nike or Apple, or be a finance person or something in order to be successful, or to feel successful. And now it's like literally the hobby can actually make you, super
Income.
successful and income,
Yeah.
and it's just like, wow, that's amazing. And I think more women were always following into the hobby category. And so that's, when we're starting to see those hobbies turn into actual like legit, high paying businesses, and also being able to employ other people,
Yeah.
whether, male or female or whatever. But I do like that you said that. Yeah, it's a different energy that's gonna come up, for us.
Yeah. And I think right now too, because of COVID and so many people working from home and people's positions changing, like a lot of people are seeing that they can actually start their own business now, instead of, maybe they've lost their 9 to 5 job and they're able to take that hobby and they're trying to see what that would look like for them to freelance or to become an independent contractor or to start their own business and do things in a different way. So I think that over the next few months and few years even, there's going to be a lot more women that are coming out of this with the desire to have their own business, and they're going to have more confidence in doing it, especially like just people working from home right now, right? Like so many companies are working from home, and these corporations are like, this actually worked really well, but they were afraid to let their employees work from home because I don't know, they thought they were going to goof off if their kids were in the other room or what that looked like. But so many companies are, at least from people that I know, are talking about not even going back to their office, which I think is amazing. It's going to give women more confidence to be able to have more free time instead of commuting and traveling to work all the time. They're going to be able to start to take some of that extra time that they have and really
Yeah.
start with their passion
Yeah, I
work.
do have to say that my husband, he's a lawyer and he's had work from home. So if you got like two Zoom screens and you put them together side by side, you would see me upstairs teaching a yoga class via Zoom, and then you'd see my husband on his Zoom call for work talking about super like serious stuff, right? And then in the back, then you have, another Zoom screen with my younger ones, one's in college doing his college courses online. The two other ones are in their little Zoom classrooms. And so if you just look at that and imagine it on your own like Zoom screen at home right now, like there's so much going on, but it's all in the same house,
Yeah.
and it sounds chaotic, but at the same time, I there are times where I was like, I am so glad my husband's home today, because he would commute, over an hour and a half from where we live. And a lot of the times I'm, not seeing him come home until like 7:30 at night. And yet I've been with, running around all day, picking up everybody, this and that, making dinner, plus running my business. And so now it's been able to like, oh, he has his lunch break. Now he can help with, something during around the house. And so
Yeah.
that's been a nice thing there, where we've been able to, I guess maybe the gender roles started to get a little erased.
Yeah.
If I'm busy, you can make the kids lunch. If I'm not busy, I'll make the kids lunch today, and so it's been a back and forth thing that has been taking place since we've been home, because he's starting to see, oh shit, she really does work a lot.
Yeah. He's getting like the bird's eye view into what
Yeah,
the day-to-day sometimes looks like.
yeah,
Yeah. I definitely think that a lot of people are seeing things from a viewpoint, and they're able to take action in different ways and support in different ways as well. So it's going to be interesting, I think, over, I don't know how long this is going to last, like how long COVID's going to last, but like when we come out to, I keep telling myself at some point we're going to come out the other side of this, right? And it's going to go back to a new normal, like, but we're going to kind of go back to like life kind of as we used to know it, but a lot of things are going to have shifted. So it's going to be interesting to see what's shifted, like what holds on to, and like what people start to value and really support, and then what things go back completely how they used to be. So
yeah. I think you make a good point with that. Like, for one, the word hold, and then two, one of my favorite quotes is, when you make plans, God laughs.
yeah.
And it's so true. I'm talking about from when I was, you know, early young adult, expecting, I have my two young kids. By the time I'm 20, 30 years old, they're going to be like already in junior high, maybe, and blah, 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 blah. And yeah, that was the dumbest thing ever, to plan that out.
Yeah.
And then as I kept going on and on and on, and thinking that I was hitting all my, my like little visions, something would happen and be like, nope, sorry, you got to change direction. And so when I started to say, you know what, I'm just going to let go and not hold on to the things that I thought were like needed to be whatever it was. And once I would let go, that's when that universe that I keep talking about is like, here you go, here comes that little like gold platter,
Mhm.
you know. And right now, I think that everybody's in this whole thing of planning everything. Oh, we're going to start school in August and blah, 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 whatever, right? And so I've just been like, if we start school in August, that's awesome and great. Trust me, I would love that, because then I can get back to my life again the way that I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I'll just go back to last year. So I have my 18-year-old leaving the house, going to UC Santa Cruz, and about an 8-hour drive away from me. And I dropped him off, and serendipitously, it was my birthday that same day that I had to drop him off at his college dorm. I was crying like a baby. Crying. I couldn't even say his name for 2 weeks, because I would just start crying. I would look into his room, start crying. Like, and I didn't even think I would be that emotional of a mom, because I'm pretty like, I thought I prepared myself, but
Yeah.
from taking flight. But, the subconscious has its own way of dealing with things. And then also my 5-year-old was starting kindergarten. So you're talking about me being home alone for at least the 6-hour blocks of not ever having to take care of
Yep.
anybody. So empty nest that I'm at least going to feel for at least 6 hours. So my kindergartner's off. I was crying because she had to start school. I'm not used to her not being around. I came home, I'd be like, what do I do with myself? Well, I guess I'll start work. And it felt weird. And then initially it took me about 3 months to kind of be like, not have that feeling of missing my kids, and now starting to step into, okay, I can accept this. And then as soon as I got used to it, God laughed and he's like,
Everything blew up.
COVID, now your son's coming right back home and he's now living at home again with you. Now you have your little, kindergartner that was hard for you to send off to school. Now she's home with you. And just to give you an extra bonus, now you have your your fourth grader and your husband back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and I just think about it and I'm like, but you know what? We got to look at it in a different way. These are times we could spend with each other again. I get to have my son back home for another, he doesn't get to fly away maybe until all this ends. And I don't even know how that's going to work out. But I just looked at it like, it's okay. I know we'd rather have everybody experience college and school, but at the same time, it is what it is. And I'm just going to accept it. And I'm going to go with the flow. Because if I don't accept it, I'm going to meet with resistance and that gold little plate isn't going to come.
Yes. And it's going to make it totally different.
Yeah. And God's going to laugh again, like, ha, 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 let me show you. No, God's not like that, but it's just a metaphor of like,
Yeah.
gotta trust.
Yeah. And it's not always our timing. Like
Yeah.
as much as we wish and hope that like we could plan every single thing to a T and like know exactly what it was going to look like and how it was going to come together. Like that's just life. Like life throws you all kinds of curveballs and things happen and we're changed for them in different directions. And like some things are bigger situations, right? And then other things are super small and we just have to figure out how to get over those hurdles. But it's about just keep going no matter what's obstacles thrown your way. Like there's still a way to get there. You just might have to take a totally different path or direction to get there than maybe you had originally planned out for yourself.
Yeah. And that's what I always go back to, because if it's not COVID, it was me battling my health. If it wasn't me battling my health, it was trying to, have my vision of a family with having more children. If it wasn't this, it was that. There's always going to be something that's going to put a big roadblock. And I think the only difference is that right now we're dealing with the same roadblock collectively, which is COVID, and we're starting to see how the good, the bad, and the ugly, and you just have to protect your bubble and understand that, we're dealing with something as a collective. So you're not alone, but at the same time, everybody has opposing visions and feelings, which is fine. But at the same time, they're just feelings. Like, just trust the process. There will be an end, and so long as you're breathing, your family's healthy, that just hold on to that for the moment until the next moment.
Yeah, I think early into COVID, somebody had said that we're all in the same storm, but we're just in different boats. Like all of us are handling things differently and different waves are coming at different times, but it is, we're all in this together. Like, and we all need to support each other and help motivate and encourage and help people, rise up and take control of whatever's happening. And I think it's amazing that we do have the ability to help those around us and to kind of lift each other up through this process as well and come closer together with our families and with like our strategic alliance partners and the people that we want to have in our lives. Like it's a great time for us to build collaborations and do things jointly together to grow our businesses, and then inside our homes too, like just grow our families closer. So many families for so long were going to every single sporting event and like taking their kids to dance class and to baseball and soccer. And, they were busy. And it's really brought us to a time where we're able to take a step back and kind of just get to know each other in a new way.
Yeah, I think we're coming back to a tribe. No more individual hut living. I think people are starting to see, like now I'm even in my little community that I live in. of homes, there's now a little small band of women getting together per grade and saying, okay, how could we take turns? If you have a kid in grade 1, we're going to meet at the park this day, and we're going to help each other with their homework or tutoring or whatever, and PE classes, and we'll figure it out as a community. And we are meant to live as tribes among human beings. We're not meant to be hunters all by ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we are living in a very modern society, but we're still humans. We have human tendencies, and we do better in tribal living.
Yeah, we do.
So we're coming back to that wolf pack that that I think is different, and everybody's fighting it. Some are, some aren't. And I think that in the end, it's just going to be a better community for everybody. Well, we're going to start rowing in the same boats.
Yes. And that's what we need as a community. I know I thrive so much better when I have people around me than when I try to do something completely on my own. Like, I need that support. It makes it just makes life so much better, I feel like. But Arlene, this has been so fun having you on. Before we wrap up, I always ask a couple quick round questions to all my guests. So we're going to go through this real quick. But what is your morning routine look like? Do you have a morning routine?
I wake up, and then I have to feed myself first. So before I give anybody food or anything, I have my cup of coffee and my breakfast, and I feed myself first. And then from there, I'll then I feed the kids. And they know that I just need that little, 5 to 10 minute window of let me just sit down and have my cup of coffee and my freaking muffin or whatever it is. So that sets the day up for myself. If I start feeding the kids first, I start noticing that I'm not putting myself first. And in the end, the day ends up just feeling like that as well.
Yeah. And it runs you over sometimes when it doesn't start the way you need it to.
Yeah.
Who has made the biggest, or who has been the biggest influencer in your life?
So the person that I lost, she's my godmother. And I think now that she's gone, I started to realize she was a really big influence on me, because she was into a lot of the things that I was into. She, she's super professional, has a doctorate degree, but it was very into philanthropy work and helping other women. And I see we had so many similar things. I played it out in the hippy dippy way, and she played it out in the get your degree, go to UCLA, become a doctor, go do this, and that. And in the end, we had one of the most beautiful conversations where we literally were these two souls that were just yeah, we have the same mission in life. And I miss her. She's somebody that I'm darn, I kind of need your help right now. And she's gone, but then there's that spiritual component and that spiritual connection. And she's I'm not gone.
Yeah. She's still in your heart, and she's still with you.
Yeah. So it's just taking the torch and continue it, lighting it for the both of us now.
Yeah. I love that. Taking the torch. I like that. And what is your happy spot? If you need to recharge and kind of reset your soul, what do you like to do, or where do you like to go?
I love water, anywhere that has water, but I was having a hard time in my own home making that space. And I decorated all the kids' rooms in the house, super cute, whatever. And my room was a freaking joke. And it was all the furniture you don't want was in my room. And so I finally decided during this COVID time, I'm going to now make my room my sacred space and decorate it, my meditation zone. I'm going to do all the things to make it aesthetically pleasing for me to want to go in there and relax. So I think that's been it's not fully there yet, but it's now I just hung up this little, those cute little boho swings. I hung one up in my room. That's my little reading corner, and I'm very visual. So everything has to look kind of perfect. And then my soul's okay, we can relax. So it's now just making my own sacred space and making it truly mine, and taking the time to, not settle for what's going to go into the room.
Yeah. And it's nice to have something in your home too that can be your happy space, so you don't always feel like you have to go somewhere. One of my happy spots is the beach, right? Because I love water, I love the sand, and just the air, smell, the salt in the air, that's just, it makes me happy. But you can't always go to the beach when you need to have that pick me up. So I love that you have a spot in your house. And then if you could travel anywhere in the world right this second, where would you go? And I know you can't because, COVID, but if you could.
No. Yeah, we were supposed to go to Italy in May for our 10th anniversary, and that didn't happen. So hopefully they did give us vouchers for next year, but now I'm like, can we even go next year?
Right?
I would go to Egypt. I love Egypt. I have a little soft spot for Egypt. I feel like there's a lot of mysticism and there's a lot of ancient history. There's a lot that we can learn looking back. So I would love to go back there and just look at all the pyramids and the paintings and all that woo woo stuff.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we're having our 10-year anniversary is going to be in August as well. And I was starting to plan some stuff and then COVID hit and I'm like, well, okay, we're not doing it now, but we're still going to celebrate our 10-year anniversary at some point, even if it's like for our 12th year anniversary.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was like, well, whatever. It is what it is. At least it's paid for already.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Arlene, this has been so fun. Tell all of our listeners where they can find you. Where do you like to hang out on social media or your website?
I'm usually on Instagram. You can find me at Luna Soul Wellness. And I have my website where you can book different services like human design chart reading, Reiki, a yoga session, Ayurvedic health coaching, a yoni steam session, all that fun stuff. You can book it there for the actual services. And then you also find a link on that same website, Luna Soul Wellness, that will lead you directly to my Etsy shop. And yeah, so I'd love to connect. I have a lot of things planned for the future to help women as a collective. And I would love to connect with more women.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you, Arlene. It's been so fun having you on.
You're welcome.